So this is probably one of the most well-loved songs by the Beatles, and kind of the most what do you call helpful because it's based on a story that John Lennon told about his followers or his group going to see Maharishi Yogi and that famous Rishikesh group stripped to India in early '68. Now, Dear Prudence, sung by the Beatles on the White Album, songs written by John Lennon and credited to Lennon-McCartney. Written in Rishikesh during the group's trip to India in early '68, it was inspired by actress Mia Farrow's sister Prudence, who became so obsessed about meditating while practicing with Maharishi Yogi, she went catatonic. Our designated partners on the meditation course, Lennon and George Harrison, attempted to coax Farrow out of her seclusion, which led to Lennon writing the song. Now, Lennon wrote Dear Prudence using a finger-picking guitar technique that he learned from Donovan. Its lyrics are simple and innocent and celebrate the beauty of nature. The Beatles recorded the song at Trident Studios in late August 1968 as a three-piece after Ringo temporarily left the group out of protest at McCartney's criticism of his drumming on Back in the USSR and the tensions that typified the sessions for the White Album. The final recordings also feature contributions from Al Evans, Jackie Lomax, and John McCartney. A demo for the song, recorded at George Harrison's home before the album sessions, was released on the 2018 Super Deluxe edition of the White Album. Now, the song was recorded over 3 days during my birthday week in 1968 and Lent 356. Now, critics have praised Dear Prudence for his lyrics and the band's performance. Lennon later selected it as one of his favorite songs by the Beatles. It's been covered by many artists, including the Jerry Garcia Band, Ramsey Lewis, and of course the iconic Susie Shu and the Banshees version, which made top 5 in the UK in '83. Now, the inspiration and subject of the song is Prudence Farrow, again Mia's sister, both of whom were present when the Beatles went to India to study with the Maharishi in Rishikesh, in the foothills of the Himalayas. Farrow came to TM and the Maharishi's teachings as a result of a highly disturbing experience with LSD. While in Rishikesh in early '68, she became intensely serious about meditating, refusing to venture out of her bungalow for days on end. Of all the Beatles, Farrow felt closest to John Lennon and Harrison, who were assigned by Maharishi to act as their team buddies. Now, Lennon and Harrison took the responsibility seriously, having similarly experimented with LSD before discovering meditation. The two musicians were asked to coax Farrow out of the seclusion to ensure she socialized with the other students on the course. As a result, Lennon wrote the song Dear Prudence. In these lyrics, Lennon asked Farrow to open up your eyes and see the sunny skies, reminding her she's part of everything. Singer-songwriter Donovan, who was also there, remembered that we were diving deep inside ourselves, not just for 20 minutes in the morning and evening, but he had days of it. Deep exploration of the deep psyche. So Prudence was in deep, and the song was John's way of saying, are you okay in there? Now, according to our artist and journalist Mark Petres, Lennon was less charitably disposed when commenting on the song after he'd grown disaffected with Maharishi and TM. In a 1980 interview, he said of Dear Prudence, it's a song about Mia's sister who seemed to be go slightly balmy, meditating too long and couldn't come out of the little hut that we're living in. He selected me and George to try and bring her out because she would trust us. If she'd been in the West, they would have put her away. She'd been locked in for 3 weeks and was trying to reach God quicker than anybody else, sort of like he said, an ego trip. That was the competition in Maharishi's camp, who was going to get cosmic first. What he didn't know was I was already cosmic. And there was some question that Maharishi was coming on to girls, which made Lennon leave with kind of is what he used to do before. Now, according to Farrow, I would always rush straight back to my room after lectures and meals so I could meditate. John, George, and Paul would all want to sit around jamming and having a good time and be flying into my room. They were all serious about what they were doing, but they just weren't as fanatical as me. Farrow did not hear Dear Prudence before the Beatles recorded the track, although she had said that before leaving Rishikesh. Harrison told her they had written a song about her. Now, the lyrics are simple and innocent and celebrate the beauty of nature, particularly in the lines, the sun is up, the sky is blue, it's beautiful, and so are you, Dear Prudence. Author Mark Hertzgaard finds Dear Prudence typical of Lennon's work and that it transcends the origins to provide a wider message. He says that the lyrics further an idea that first brought forth by Lennon in Nowhere Man in '65, namely, don't hide from life, you have the reason to smile. Wake up and play your part in the grand scheme of things. Now, Dear Prudence was one of 27 songs demoed by the Beatles in late May 68 in readiness for White Album. Performed solo by Lennon on acoustic guitar, the song was taped on Harrison's house in Esher, Surrey. Lennon concluded the performance with a brief spoken commentary, during which he says that the song is about a girl who attended a meditation course at Rishikesh. In Hertzgaard's description of recording, after McCartney interjects with Cuckoo, Lennon adds sarcastically, "Who was to know that she would go completely berserk under care of the Maharishi?" In his book Revolution, The Making of the Beatles' White Album, David Quantrick writes that it's cynicism, and Lennon's delivery reflects his disillusion with the Maharishi in light of rumors alleged that the teacher had made sexual advances towards Prudence's sister. He adds that Lennon now reinterpreted Prudence's episode in an anti-Maharishi light, and Dear Prudence was therefore quite divorced from its original purpose. But what really stands out for the song, for me, ladies and gentlemen, is just the pure beauty of it. It's a very, very emotional song about ELO, Mr. Blue Sky. Now, released on 26 November 68 as part of the White Album, Dear Prudence was sequenced as the second track of side one of the double LP. Its introduction was cross-faded with the sounds of a jet aircraft landing, which concluded the previous track back in the USSR. On the Beatles' 6770 compilation 2023 edition, the crossfade is cut off, and the track begins abruptly after the start of the original recording. The song starts cleanly with no jet aircraft landing effects. Now, Julian Lennon, John's son, named Dear Prudence as one of his favorite songs written by his dad. Lennon is said to have selected it as one of his favorite songs by the Beatles. In 1987, his original handwritten lyrics of the song, containing 14 lines and some doodles in the margin, sold at auction for nearly $20,000 US. In a Ruddles' 1978 parody of the Beatles' history, All You Need Is Cash, the song was parodied as Let's Be Natural. In 2010, the Rolling Stone ranked Dear Prudence as number 63 on the magazine's list of the Beatles' 100 greatest songs. Now, Farrow said he was flattered by the song in creating Dear Prudence, adding it was a beautiful thing to have done. Now, the Sushi Shoe and the Banshee version, again, beautiful. We'll do another podcast on that later on. Now, on the track, again, was not a single. John, double track lead vocal, backing vocal, rhythm guitars. Paul McCartney, harmony backing vocals. Drums, bass guitar, piano, tambourine, hand claps. George Harrison, harmony backing vocals, rhythm guitar. Lead guitars, tambourine, and hand claps. Mal Evans, Jackie Lomax, and John McCartney, backing vocals, hand claps, and unspecified percussion. I think it was, a little maybe finger tingies. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is interesting as well. Now, other songs that were written by Rishikesh, there was quite a few. Donovan wrote in his commentary in his magazine, the song, of course, has that quality of soothing, but also a sense of disquiet. With 68 and nothing seems straightforward anymore. Now, the flip side of the song, of course, it's Sexy Sadie, which is about the Maharishi, when he says the line, "Sexy Sadie, what have you done? You made a fool of everyone," which he was coming on to Mira Farrow, allegedly, supposedly. So, Dear Prudence, one of the most beautiful songs of all time. And, if you have a person who's depressed, play that for them and tell them come out of your shell, because part of helping a person with depression, say, the sky is blue and you're beautiful, dear such and such, is probably one of the first positive mental illness songs, if that makes any sense. Just because you're having a bad day doesn't mean the world is not beautiful. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's the story of Dear Prudence, another cut off the White Album. If you like what you're doing with Behind the Tracks, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share.